Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Roosevelt Field for tonight's game between the Norristown Eagles and the Truman Tigers. We're going to bring you senior night tonight. We're starting with quarterback Christopher Blake, led by Michael and Kathy Blake. We have Chris Brown, led by Terry and Rose Brown. Next we have John Bird, led by Willie Bird. We have Yaboa Cabold, led by Ernestina Cabold. You see our seniors walking to midfield. We have Troy Ellis, one of the co-captains of the Norristown Eagles football team, led by Hillard and Sabrina Ellis. Michael Ginyard, led by Otis Ginyard. We have Daryl Johnson, led to midfield by Daryl and Kathy Johnson. Josh Kinlock is led by Alan and Lynn Kinlock. This is the last game of the year for the seniors here at Roosevelt Field. A special night for all the seniors. Deshaun Marshall and Michael Hackett, are led by William Carter. Charles Monteleone, led by Chuck and Joanne Monteleone. Carl Moore and his escorts are Mark and Esther Lewis. We have Kevin Qualia, led by Ralph and Nancy Qualia. We have Damian Solomon, led by Uncle Joe Hampton and his grandmother Cora Daly. We have Ian Stead, led by Debbie Stead. Peter Toto, escorted by Peter and Donna Toto. We have Donald Vaughn Jr., parents Donald and Florine Vaughn, and his sisters Quanda and D'Amica. Doug White is led by Doug White Sr. Now into our cheerleaders. Ollie Davis, led by Gwendolyn Davis. Next we have Samantha Dungan, led by Anita Fusco. We have Kelly Fryer, led by Lee and Sandy Fryer. Our senior trainer is Amanda Moletsky, led by John and Lisa Moletsky. And our mascot is Jared Beach. He's led by Susan McLeod. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the seniors of the Norristown Area High School football team, Norristown Area High School cheerleaders, and the senior trainer for Norristown. Each one of them doing a valuable job for all of Norristown this year, and their efforts are to be applauded. Every one of them, just fantastic stuff, and this is a real tribute to them tonight, and everything I think will go smoothly tonight. While we have a delay on the field, we want to welcome Walt Fry to the broadcast tonight. Walt is back again tonight.
Thanks, Greg. It's nice to be back for this final home game. Certainly been an exciting season so far. I'm more than happy to be here. Right now, we've just had Express delivered up to the booth. The PA announcer. The band list Unfortunately, we do not happen to have that list with us, but you can certainly see those individuals coming onto the field with their family and friends.
Our band doing a great job this year of entertaining the crowd and supporting their team both home and on the road. We want to wish them good luck in all their further competitions this year. Well, definitely a special night here at Roosevelt Field. Senior night, and I've said it already, it's always a special night for everybody. It's your last game at home, and there's still a long season, hopefully, for the Norristown Eagles left. But to play in front of that home crowd one more time, it's what you dream of when you go in as a freshman the first day in Norristown Area High School.
Yeah, and traditionally, we've seen Norristown really play well with a lot of emotion on senior night. I can specifically recall the game that Will Gant had here on his final night. Was just all over the place on both sides of the ball, and that's just one player. He was certainly an emotional player when he was here on any game, but add in that senior night factor, and a lot of these guys really get pumped up. So I would look for some special things from the seniors tonight.
And well, I'm speaking from experience here because playing on the soccer team, we had our senior night a couple weeks ago, and everybody played a couple levels up, and you really, when you look up and you see that you're playing underneath the lights, you get fired up, and it's an emotional thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and not only do those seniors have that little bit of lift because they're playing their final home game in front of the home crowd, but I think everybody else plays a little bit harder. Everybody else being the underclassmen, I think they play a little bit harder too for those seniors because they know how special it's been, and those seniors, lead them through their careers. So to continue that tradition, I think everybody sort of picks it up a level.
Well, now that we're just watching our seniors come off the field, let's talk a little bit about Norristown. Let's talk a little bit about what their future is this year and what kind of things they have to do to extend their season.
Well, it's pretty simple for Norristown. Win out. Win this game here tonight against Truman, and then win out against North Penn. That finishes the league schedule. They'll have their 9 games already with this game tonight. You have to take 9 games and include that in your playoff points total. But you do have to include every single loss. So of course, Norristown already with that 1 loss to Central Bucks West. They win tonight, and then they beat North Penn next week up in Lansdale. And Norristown is in the playoffs. It's really that simple. And that game next week will be huge because the winner of that one, North Penn's in the same situation as Norristown is. The winner of that game is guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. The other one is not necessarily out, but a lot of things have to happen for that second team to get in. So Norristown cannot look past tonight. They have to win every single one. But certainly that game next week looms large on the schedule.
Norristown, when you look at the stats, maybe not a huge challenge tonight. They are playing a 1-6 Truman team, but they do have to make sure that they concentrate tonight and really do focus on this team and not look forward to next week against North Penn.
Yeah, and Norristown hasn't done that at all this year. Look past another opponent to their next opponent in the following week. So I wouldn't expect that to happen tonight. I think it's a very focused group. I think for the first time in a few seasons, they actually feel that they have that chance for the playoffs. And that keeps you focused all the way through. They're not going to have that letdown tonight, and frankly, the Tigers really don't have the weapons to sneak up and bite a team that may be looking past them. Truman's 1-6 this year. They've been shut out 3 times in league competition, and they just don't score a lot of points. It's those teams that are maybe not so good, maybe not too experienced, but have some offensive weapons that'll come up and get you. And so far this year, the Truman Tigers have not shown that they're that sort of team. So Norristown will have to be focused, and certainly we'll play a conservative game, I think, to try and get a solid victory. But obviously you don't want to risk any sort of injuries. And the other thing I think you'll see is Roger Grove and his staff not really showing a lot today, showing a lot to North Penn, who I'm sure is scouting them tonight and will be watching the tape. Again, that's a huge game, and they certainly can't let the Knights, who are actually ranked higher than Norristown in most state polls and local polls, Norristown cannot show North Penn anything special, anything interesting that they're planning on pulling out for that game next week. They're not going to use it up tonight.
As we see the Norristown Eagles come onto the field, once again, just a great year for the Norristown Eagles so far. That only loss coming to West here, 28-13. West is a team that is #1 in the state. And Walt, we saw Norristown pull a lot of things out of the playbook. You have to say that they have to have something left in their playbook. I'm sure they're creative, and they want to win next week against North Penn. But what has made this Norristown team successful this year?
Well, I think just that, the diversity, the fact that they can play a game like they played against Central Bucks West, easily giving them their toughest game of the season, and admitted by all the way up to head coach Mike Pettin that Norristown was easily the toughest game of the season, that they can pull out a game like that and still have something left, still have some new plays in the playbook. In past years, that wasn't always the case. Norristown, had to rely on one or two players. This year, and I think largely because of the talents of Chris Blake and his maturity, they've been able to do a lot of different things. Keeps Troy Swittenberg fresh in the backfield. They've used a couple of other backs back there, and it just gives them a lot of weapons to work with. And at this level, a lot of defenses are going to have trouble with that kind of diversity in your offense.
This Norristown team, I agree with you, while it's very diverse and it's very exciting to watch them play. We have their offensive unit coming out right now. Number 51, Troy Ellis. Number 56, Chris Brown. Number 66, Yaboa Kabold. Number 71, Mike Ginyard. Number 78, Doug White.
And Greg, it's more than appropriate that leading the Norristown offense onto the field right now is the offensive line, because the offensive line has really led them all year and given Blake time and Swittenberg room to run.
They deserve all the credit that they get. We have number 82, Josh Kinlock. Number 17, James Edmonds. Number 13, Chris Blake. Number 9, Trey Hadrick. Number 3, Daryl Johnson. Number 2, Damian Solomon. And last but certainly not least, number 1, Troy Swittenberg. This Eagles team is fired up, as you can see from the field. Well, what does Norristown have to do tonight to beat this Truman team?
Really just no mistakes. Don't give Truman any sort of idea that they're in this game. I certainly don't think the Tigers are walking into this stadium thinking that they're beaten, but if Norristown gives a solid first quarter effort, and maybe a touchdown, maybe a couple touchdowns, just really no mistakes from Norristown. If they play a good solid game, fundamentally sound, that's really all they need right now to beat the Truman Tigers. It's also the way to avoid a letdown, is back to fundamentals. Do everything solid. And I'm not talking about running the ball. I'm talking about run your offense, but execute it well. At this point, that would be the best thing for Norristown to do tonight. So that they may be over-emotional because of senior night. They may be emotional because of the final home game and the playoffs looming in their future. Best bet right now is just play it solid, get your feet on the ground in that first quarter, and I think the rest will take care of itself.
We have all the seniors walking to midfield for the coin toss tonight, led by the two captains all year, Chris Blake and Troy Ellis. Well, those two guys have done a great job this year for the Norristown Eagles.
Yeah, the other thing, we mentioned that diversity in their offense is one of the main points to their success. That's on the field. That's what the opponent sees. But what has also really contributed to their success is these two guys, two true leaders, two seniors who've played in their junior seasons extensively. Chris Blake, of course, he being a second-year starter, and Troy Ellis, a two-way player for a couple of years. Troy Ellis plays with just so much emotion, and Chris Blake is the other side of the coin, really calms the team down. You can just see a calm. They really trust him in the huddle and with the ball in his hands. So when you have two leaders like that, I think everybody else can just let their natural talents flow through, let the good coaching take place, and they know that these guys are going to be in control no matter what. And I think that really permeates throughout the whole team.
You've seen all year just the great work of the seniors, and once again led by Chris Blake and Troy Ellis. But all the seniors deserve a round of applause for their efforts this year. Getting ready for a kickoff tonight here at Roosevelt Field. A little bit brisk tonight. We've had some really great weather and not freezing cold tonight, and the night before Halloween, so you never know what to expect tonight. Truman will be receiving tonight first. Number 20, Rondell Bradley, will be back. We'll see him as the running back and as the return man tonight. And kicking off for Norristown will be number 11, Kevin Qualia. This Norristown special teams has done a great job this year, not allowing teams to get great field position this year.
Yeah, they rotated a few kickers on extra points and kickoffs, and but Kevin Qualia has been the main guy on kickoffs this year. And they've been short, but he positions them well. And that's really what Norristown likes to do, is to avoid that big return. And by positioning that kick on that sideline, it allows those coverage guys to get down there. And Norristown's a deep team, and they can put some pretty good coverage guys out there who you're not going to see play on offense or defense much, but they sure can run down the field and cover the kick.
So here we go. We're underway here at Roosevelt Field. Bradley takes it at the 10. Good blocking up field, and he's run out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Good pursuit there by the Norristown Eagles. With the Truman offense coming onto the field right now. Led by quarterback number 7, Trevor Smith. Two backs in the backfield. That was number 7, Trevor Smith, and he is dropped for a loss in the backfield. Good pursuit there by the Norristown Eagles to get to the quarterback on first down. Second down and 12, we'll say, for the Truman Tigers. Handoff is number 44, the fullback, John Slemmer. Second down. Keeper again, and that does not work again. See number 51, Troy Ellis, number 66, Yaboa Cabold, and number 3, Darrell Johnson in on the play. Truman offense for you tonight. Their line consists of Sean Woodington, Brian McArdle, Matt Willick, James Hendrickson, and Joe Champy. Quarterback is Trevor Smith, Alan Osborne and Dan Slavin, Howard Assay, Rondell Bradley, and John Slemmer. Truman losing more ground than they are gaining right now. Norristown defense has come out and stopped them on 2 consecutive plays. Third down and 13 for the Tigers. He's back to pass. Looking and way overthrown. Looking for John Slemmer right there. 3 and out for Truman on their first possession.
Yeah, we didn't even get a chance to set that Norristown defense, and boy, Trevor Smith just looked like he wanted to get to the sideline after a couple of unsuccessful runs. And then that throw was obviously hurried. So Norristown is playing up on those corners, and right there Trevor Smith just tried to get rid of it on a quick hitter. I don't think he would have had the first down had he completed it.
2 return men for the Norristown Eagles, number 5, Audley Stewart, number 17, James Edmonds. Norristown will get good field position out of this. Stewart takes it close to midfield, gets to the outside, and a great tackle out there. That was number 44, John Slemmer. Good coverage downfield. Audley Stewart, we usually see him get to the outside, just didn't get there that time. The Norristown offense for you, we talked about that great line up front led by Chris Brown, Yaboa Cabold, Mike Ginyard, Doug White, and Troy Ellis. Senior quarterback, co-captain Chris Blake. Running backs in the backfield, you see fullback Darrell Johnson, Troy Swittenberg. Wide receivers James Edmonds. Look for Damian Solomon, tight end Josh Kinlock. First down from midfield for the Eagles. Couldn't ask for a better start. Hand off to Swittenberg. Up the middle. A lot of room in the line opening holes on the first play. Swittenberg gets 6 yards.
And you don't want to put too much emphasis on that first play, but that does not bode well for Truman. That is a huge hole and a pretty easy 6 yards for Troy Swittenberg. And that's what we think Norristown's going to do tonight, is just keep it solid. Looks like they're going to be able to run right up the middle for a little while.
Troy Swittenberg, the fantastic running back for the Norristown Eagles. Went over 1,000 yards last week. He has been a horse for the Norristown Eagles. Second down and 4. The 44-yard line. Swittenberg pitched to the right. He stopped, but still fighting. Got out to about the 42-yard line. 3rd and short for Norristown.
And we just saw an easy 6 yards on the first carry. That was about the toughest 2 yards you're ever going to see, because Troy Swittenberg was squirming and fighting for every single yard he could get. And just show the presence of mind to fall forward and get within 1 yard of that first down marker.
3rd and short for Norristown. James Edmonds is the wide receiver. Darrell Johnson in the backfield as the fullback. Hand off to Swittenberg. Easily gets the first down. Past the 40-yard line of Truman. Well, how important is it for this Norristown team to come out and get a good start?
Well, I think that's the key, not only for Norristown to assert themselves and to feel good about what they're doing, make sure that they're into this game right here in front of them, but to really sort of put the Truman Tigers almost in their place. Again, you don't want them to walk into here and think that they have a chance. And I think in this first quarter, Norristown can pretty much let the Tigers know, we're not going to give you a chance to win this game tonight.
Hadrick in motion on first down for the Eagles. Hand off to Swittenberg. Once again, he gets to the outside. So dangerous when he gets over there. Big hit put on by the Truman players, but good gain for Troy Swittenberg.
More great downfield blocking from the Norristown Eagles. Troy Swittenberg really never put on any sort of speed in that run, and it's an 8-yard run. He just picked his way, just followed his blockers, and before you knew it, the whole right side was 8 yards downfield, and there was Troy Swittenberg right behind them. So, you know, sometimes it's not hitting the hole so fast, and it's not full speed ahead. Sometimes you have to let it develop, and nobody's better at that than Troy Swittenberg.
2nd and 3. Blake, the quick hitter to Darrell Johnson. He is stopped at the line. Norristown using that quick hitter, and it's been effective many times this season. It's a good mix-up for the Eagles.
Yeah, and a little reward for the guy who's done so much great lead blocking and trap blocking this year for Troy Swittenberg. But Darrell Johnson, certainly an excellent runner in his own right.
We talked about how Darrell Johnson can be considered the 6th man on that line, because he does such a great job blocking for Troy Swittenberg. Troy Swittenberg with 1,067 yards this year has been very successful. Blake back to pass for the first time tonight. Finds Trey Hadrick on the sidelines. That'll be a first down. Tackle made there by number 10, one of the captains for Truman, Sean Frazier. Norristown went to Swittenberg on the first few plays, and Chris Blake drops back and throws a bullet to Trey Hadrick.
And as soon as they got in that 3rd down situation, they went right to the air. But no foolishness, nothing more than they needed to do. Just a quick 3-yard pass to Trey Hadrick. He gets a couple more on the run after the catch, and very efficient so far for the Eagles.
Norristown, nothing spectacular, just moving the ball right now. Troy Swittenberg, the middle. Gets a couple yards. Be 2nd and 7 for the Eagles. They're already down to the 21-yard line. So Norristown, like we said, important to get off to a good start, and they appear to be doing it right now. Hadrick and Edmonds are the wide receivers. Blake calling the play at the line. Drops back to pass, looking for Edmonds. They're going to call that a fumble, folks. They say James Edmonds had possession of it, and then he was hit over on that far side, and that's a fumble, and Truman recovers. A big defensive play for the Truman Tigers.
Yeah, and there's one of those mistakes. Luckily for Norristown, it was down deep into Truman territory, but really a great drive from the Eagles, taking up a lot of clock and eating up a lot of yards. And there, James Edmonds, they say he had possession because he caught that ball, had feet on the ground, and turned to run with it.
Smith, that appeared to be John Slemmer again. Once again, Truman getting no yards. Norristown defense for you. We have Mike Ginyard, Yaboa Cabol, Doug White, Pete Toto. Linebackers are Troy Ellis and Jameel Butler. In the backfield, Troy Swittenberg, Trey Hadrick, Audley Stewart, Mike Wilson. Second down for Truman. Back to pass. Smith. Tipped by Swittenberg. Ellis picks it up, and he will go to the end zone for a touchdown. Troy Ellis, off of the tip from Troy Swittenberg. Ellis ran straight through that ball, and he looked like a running back going to the end zone. 6-0 Norristown.
And there's a little bit of that fire. You can see Troy Ellis real excited coming off the field right now. Man, what a great thrill to get a touchdown for a linebacker on senior night. But that's just good position play. Troy Swittenberg there to make that break up. Troy Ellis right in position, showing the good hands for a linebacker. And they knew what to do with it. They took off, and Troy Swittenberg in the unfamiliar position of being a lead blocker. But I don't think Troy Ellis was going to let anybody stop him. I think Troy Swittenberg was probably better advised to just clear out of the way, because Troy Ellis, seeing that end zone in front of him, was running anybody over, blue shirt or white shirt.
Matt Spicko for the extra point. It's up and it's good. 7-0 Norristown with 5:21 left to play in this first quarter. Walt, two things motivating Troy Ellis right there. Number one, it's a linebacker and a defensive player's dream to see that ball coming at you, fall into your hands, and you say, wow, I got some room in front of me. And number two, he's used to seeing the guy who was in front of him do it, so he probably had something to show there.
Yeah, you know, these guys love to show their speed. I'm sure these linebackers talk to those running backs and say, yeah, you run a 4.5. Well, yeah, I can run a 4.5 too. So he probably wanted to beat Troy Swittenberg into that end zone. But again, Troy Ellis, a leader, just making the big plays. And Greg, right now, all those ideas about Norristown making that statement early, they made it, but certainly not the way we were expecting. Norristown made the mistake and then came right back and capitalized in a big way on a Truman Tiger mistake. So that's the one thing that Truman absolutely could not do, is make a mistake. Norristown could probably afford it, and we just saw that they did. But in this case, Truman makes a mistake and Norristown makes them pay.
That defense has been solid all year, but we haven't seen a lot of turnovers and not a lot of fantastic plays, and that's the first return for a touchdown from the defense that we've seen here all year. Kevin Qualley on the kickoff again. Be taken with speed by Rondell Bradley. He'll go out to the right side. Eludes a tackler. A good job by the Norristown Eagles. Rondell Bradley getting out to the 33-yard line. Good job there by Bradley, coming up with a lot of speed on that ball.
And the Eagles recovered nicely. Bradley actually outran a few of his blockers, and the Eagles sort of had to stop in their tracks and get that side-to-side pursuit as Bradley tried to show some speed to the outside. But Norristown, with some of those defensive back types on that special teams, were able to string them along and bring him down without too much damage.
So now first down for Truman. A little bit of breathing room this time finally. 33-yard line. Smith quick up the middle. Had John Slemmer have a whistle on the play. They say he stopped, Norristown stopped his progress. Truman fans and John Slemmer both unhappy about that one.
Yeah, I think Slemmer, I think a knee hit in that pile there somewhere. He tried to pop out, but the officials were right there on top of it. And so far, not much happening up there in the middle of the field for the Truman Tigers. They're trying to run inside at Norristown with that big 5-man line. They have Mike Wilson from the safety spot up on the end. They have the 2 linebackers plugging the middle. So not a whole lot happening in the middle, but we'll have to see if Truman has the speed to get outside.
2nd down and 9 for Truman. Call it 1 on the first play. Smith tries to get to the outside. Breaks a tackle. He's out to the right side. That's a 1st down. Good elusive running by quarterback Trevor Smith. He appears to be the one guy that's dangerous on this Truman team.
That's a nice run and good vision and not giving up on the play by Trevor Smith as Norristown over pursued a little bit. But you have your quarterback doing that all night, and it's going to be a long night for the rest of your team because he's going to get awfully tired, and you know, you're prone to mistakes when you get tired in that 4th quarter.
Call that the backyard play, just making tacklers miss. Quick hitter up the middle to John Slemmer. He pushes and pushes. Gets over midfield. A good run right there by John Slemmer.
Yeah, John Slemmer was his own offensive line that time. I think he just had his guys behind him, pushing him along. John Slemmer moving that whole pile, including nose tackle Mike Ginyard on that play. He said, "You stopped me last time. They said I was down. I'm not going to be stopped this time." And good hard yards from Slemmer.
Sign of a good fullback getting a lot of yards. Truman moving the ball. The pitch is to the outside, and he is stuck. Appeared to be number 30, Jameel Butler. A huge hit right there on the running back, number 31, Jason Bloom.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Jameel Butler is none the better for that hit. He's down on his knees right now on the field. That big stick looked like it rattled him a little bit as well.
Some say that's the greatest sound in football, pad-on-pad contact. Guy making a huge hit. Let's hope that Jameel Butler is okay. Truman having a little bit of success on this drive. Finally moving the ball after some tough plays.
And we've seen in the past 3 plays, 3 different players running the ball, and that's what they need to do. They came out with 2 straight runs from quarterback Trevor Smith, and that's a tough way to get it done with your quarterback being your main option and not another option.
Well, we have this time. We want to thank the Norristown Area School District for bringing you tonight's game. Director of Communications, Mr. Tony Koya. We want to thank our 2 camera people tonight, Monica Faust and Carl Baker. We want to thank our statistician, who will be getting all of the numbers from, Garrett Hickman. Walt Fry, I'm Greg Fry. 3:01 left in the 1st quarter. Norristown up 7-0. If you missed it, it was an interception from co-captain Troy Ellis. One I'm sure he'll want to tell everybody about on Monday as we see Jameel Butler walking off the field. That's a good sign for the Norristown Eagles. In for him is number 37, Lou Samba. So 3rd and 2 for Truman. They're at the 47-yard line of Norristown. First time that end of the field has been used all night. Smith to Slemmer. Slemmer gets through there. Broke a couple of leg tackles. That's a strong guy right there. They have him in our program. It's 5'11", 190. He appears to be 300 the way he's rolling through there. 1st down for Truman.
And he hits the line with good speed, and that's what allows him to get those yards and break those leg tackles. His legs are really moving when he hits that line. And right before the snap there, you might have seen Yaboa Kabold shift from the right side over to the left side of the line, but it was still Norristown's left side a little bit weak, and Truman Tigers ran to that side. Slemmer got good yardage out of it.
It's another 1st down for Truman. And right there is the Rondell Bradley. Bradley tries to get to the outside. Good stick by Audley Stewart to contain him there. A little bit of room for Truman there, and Rondell Bradley, it's the first time we've called his name as a running back tonight, doing the job and moving the chains for Truman.
And now the Tigers are just good hard runs off tackle. They've abandoned the middle of the field for a little bit now, and they're not going to try and get outside of Norristown's speed defense, but they're running hard off those tackles. And on that play, left side of that Truman line really sealed Norristown off well, turned everybody to the inside, and Bradley had a lot of room to run.
Off to Rondell Bradley. He is wrapped up on that far side. Big number 78, Doug White, the senior for Norristown. Nice tackle there.
The tackle was made because Doug White was able to shed his block, able to stand his man up, and not give any ground. And then as he saw Bradley about to shoot through that hole, just shed his blocker and shot off. And boy, Doug White doesn't have many of his tackles broken.
Norristown defensive line, a lot of two-way players who also play offense for Norristown on that line. They do such a great job of getting penetration for that defense. 2nd and 9 for Truman. Quick hitter to Slemmer. He stopped at the line. All the Truman players pushing him forward. All the Norristown players pushing him back. A little tug of war. Pretty much he got nothing out of it.
Yes,
3rd down.
Slemmer doesn't go down. I tell you what, they keep running up the middle. There's going to be a lot of clean uniforms out there because Slemmer just runs up in there, and Truman pushes this way, and Norristown pushes that way, and John Slemmer's there in the middle, and the whistle blows. So a lot of saving on laundry with John Slemmer running up there in the middle. He just does not like to go down. Must be the principle of the thing.
That'll make a lot of moms and dads happy back at Truman. And it's 3rd and 7. It's a handoff. Number 10, Sean Frazier. There were about 3 guys back there. Everybody spun in a circle, gave the ball to Sean Frazier. He got down to about the 13-yard line.
Yeah, nice hesitation, almost a draw play that time. Frazier stepped up like he was going to lead block to the right side, then took the handoff coming off the left side. So a little bit of variation just in that running game with Truman, and so far it's gotten them pretty well down the field.
Oh, we didn't expect this from the Norristown defense. That's the end of the first quarter. Norristown up 7-0. We didn't expect this from what we saw from the first 3 plays. Norristown defense getting the ball moved on them. Let's see how they respond. What do you think they have to do, Walt?
Well, I think they're just adjusting. I think Truman has made the first adjustment. They've made the first move, and now Norristown has to make that counter move. But that first move from Truman was abandoning that middle of the field game. They were testing it. They were testing the middle of that Norristown line. Maybe they thought they saw something, or they wanted to establish something early. And John Slemmer got his tough yards up in the middle, but Truman realized that they weren't going to really move the ball down the field by doing that. So now they're going to their strengths. They're going to their tackles on either side, running just as successfully off the left side as they are off the right side. And now Norristown, with that 5-man line being contained, is maybe going to have to bring somebody else up to that line. So far, Truman has not even ventured to put the ball up in the air. They don't seem to be much of a threat through the air, although we haven't really seen it. But so far, it's Truman making the adjustment, and the Norristown defense just hasn't caught up yet.